Okay, well, ever since we first bought this car, it has been screaming at us about brake pads. It's had the notification up on the screen since the beginning, so.
Time to get these pads and rotors swapped out. The pads are fairly worn. You can see they're fairly low down there. Still a little bit of meat left, but then, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but there's a healthy little lip on the rotors as well, front and rear. So we're gonna go ahead and work on getting these done. Got some Mila front rotors and DFC pads. These DFC pads, pretty nice as a good OEM type replacement pad. They're an aftermarket pad, but a low dust option, which if you have had a BMW with genuine pads on it, you know, you wash your car and you take it down the road and immediately you've got brake dust on those wheels and it's super, super frustrating. So the DFC pads, Carrie's had those on her car, her X3 for like a couple of years now, and been really happy with them. Prolong the interval before feeling like you've got to wash your car and your car looks like a mess just from going to work one day. So excited to get those on there. And the performance of them is pretty good as well. They're not a super, super sporty high performance pad, but a really good OEM replacement type of option that gives you that low dust, low noise, good, clean pad for an application like this. First, gonna get the pads out of the caliper, which we're gonna do by punching out these two pins here. Those pins get punched out the back and the pads will come out this way. And then we can take the caliper off and then we'll take the rotor off. The rotor held on by this rotor retaining screw here. And then we'll start the reassembly process, but gonna go ahead and get the pads out and then get the caliper off. So we punched out the pins for the pads, gotten the pads removed out of the back, and then we have these little torque screws. I say little, they're kind of big. Back down in here. Where are they? Right there. That will hold the caliper on. We are undoing those, getting the caliper off, and then we will hang the caliper so we can get the rotor off. It is important as well to replace these screws when doing this job. All right, so that is hung there safely, not hanging by the brake line. Now we're gonna get this rotor off by undoing that rotor retaining screw. Line up that rotor retaining screw. That is new rotor on, and then we will pop this back down. Cut my zip tie that was holding that up. Worth noting, on modern cars, there's like a million different brake options per chassis. Holler at us, we'll help make sure you get the right one. We also have some tech articles on the website that will help guide you for which option is correct. I believe these G20 cars have like 3 different brake sizes that they could have come with. Nothing more frustrating than getting your car torn apart, opening it up, getting the rotor off, and then realizing, oh crap, I got the wrong size. So we're here to help you. So I got the caliper torqued down, 110 Newton meters on those 2 caliper bolts back there. We got one pad slid in on the back side here. Got another pad that we're about to put in. These have like a 3M adhesive on the back of them that adheres to the caliper piston, which helps reduce some noise. And I'm just gonna go ahead and slide that in. And then we have our retaining clip we will put in. And then you take the pins and get them rolling in from the backside. Getting the pins in may require a little bit of finagling to get into the sweet spot for the pads. You want to make sure that you get the pins set into the retaining clip here. So like now I've got one side down there. Need to get that one up and then get that pin going through there. And then you're gonna tap them in the rest of the way till these little lock pieces get locked into the caliper. And then, yeah, we're done with the pad rotor swap. Just take the pad wear sensor end here, little nub on it on one side. That is going to be the side that goes towards the rotor, and just press her on in. For the rear brakes, they have that parking brake actuator on there that kind of locks things down. You can't just squeeze open the caliper piston to spread it so that you can get the new pads in there. So we are going to put this thing into what's called workshop mode for the rear brakes using the Foxwell tool, which makes life super easy. Another reason, if you have a modern car, one of these things really is just worth its weight in gold. Got it in workshop mode. Now we need to undo the sliding guide pins for this rear caliper. It's a 14 mil back here on the back, already loosened it up. That's a 17 mil there to hold it steady if you need to. This one actually just popped free by just undoing the 14 mil. And once again, get the caliper hung up, set somewhere so it's not hanging by the brake line. Another one where the sensor is absolutely shot and falling apart because we have very low rear pads. Then we need to undo the 2 torque screws for the caliper bracket, and then the rotor retaining screw to get the rotor off, and yeah, rinse and repeat. Oh, left my tool. Left my tool. Thank you. Rotor back on. Get the caliper bracket on with some fresh bolts. And torque those babies down. I need to look at that torque spec. I think it's similar to the front. 110, maybe 130 Newton meters. Getting the brake wear sensor plugged into the brake pad that's gonna be on the back side. Go ahead and getting that set in place in its home in the caliper carrier. Caliper bracket is torqued down 130 Newton meters. Gonna toss the pads in now. And then we will get on this side, the pad wear sensor, but actually first I wanna get this thing routed all in its correct home. I'm gonna go ahead and put this pad in. Bring the caliper around. All right, pad wear sensor in. Fresh bolts for the caliper guide, and then these get torqued down to 35 Newton meters. And then we'll do a reset on the brakes using the Foxwell tool, and we'll be done with rear rotors and pads.
All right, so we are moving on to bleeding the brakes. We are going to use the pressure bleeder method of our pressure bleeder, catch bottle, and our ATE low viscosity brake fluid that we're gonna be using.
Yeah, the low viscosity stuff, that's what this car calls for. That's what a lot of modern BMW calls for. It's really to help have that super, super thin viscosity in cold climates. We have put standard viscosity fluid in these cars, especially for track performance race cars, but since this is just a street car, gonna go ahead and go with what it calls for. And yeah, I think Carrie is happy she's not having to do the 2-person method.
It's my favorite job.
I've gotten her down here some late nights to help me out with that. Anyways, to start off, we need to access the master cylinder, which is back just under this panel back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the bleeder bottle screwed down to the master cylinder. And then we're going to fill this bottle with some brake fluid. Got this thing hooked up, fluid in here, pumped up to about 15 PSI. Now going to start at the furthest corner from the master cylinder. So gonna go right rear, then we're gonna go left rear, right front, left front. So we're gonna start cracking these valves open on each caliper individually and let some bleeding action occur. So remove the rubber cap on the bleeder valve, get the bleeder bottle tube on the nipple of that, and then take your wrench, crack it open. May need to crack it open a couple of times just to get enough rotation so that you start seeing the brake fluid rolling on out and into the bleeder bottle. And there are some air bubbles in there, so
Lots of air bubbles.
you want to get this rolling through until the air bubbles stop. And repeat on all 4 corners. On the front, there are 2 bleeders. Yeah, if you can see the other one over here. Where's my light? One here, one there. You want to do the outside first and then do the inside. So we're going to go through this on all 4 corners and then do a brake bleed reset with the Foxwell tool, and bleeding will be done on this G20. On the front, you've got this bleeder here on the outside. There's another one on the inside. Pop that cover off and then crack this baby open and start to see the fluid rolling on through. Make sure there's no bubbles and just let it run for a minute or 2 to let that fluid run through until you get some fresh stuff in there. And then repeat on the inside and repeat on the other side. Gonna try to do the service reset on the brake pads a little bit different way to show you an alternate way outside of the Foxwell. Going to turn the car on into diagnostic mode, which means no foot on the brake, and hit the start, stop button 3 times quickly. Let it kind of wake up for a second. I'm gonna just scroll through the screens and get it to land on the, there is it, that one. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hold the BC button on the stalk for like 15 to 20 seconds. And then a menu should pop up down in the bottom center. Aha. So yes, reset possible. I want to hold on that for another probably 5 or 10 seconds, I would guess. So now is lit up, reset. I'm gonna hold again. And now it says reset in progress. Reset unsuccessful, okay. That's probably why I was struggling with the Foxwell tool. So something in this thing on the back end is not happy with this thing getting reset. So I'm gonna have to dig in and figure out what the heck that problem is. But we have fresh pads. The pads were definitely bad, but I'll dig in on that a little bit further and see what I can find out. Don't recall exactly where we left off on that brake pad reset, but turns out I had the parking brake activated. And with the parking brake activated, that means the service reset will be unsuccessful. So turn that off, go back through the process. Everything was successful. Now the service interval is reset. No longer have the brake pad warning on the dash when I start the car up, or the little wrench icon on the dash. So much better now, and good to move forward and close that chapter on the brake service.
All right, well, we've got fresh pads, rotors, wear sensors, and fluids on this thing, and the annoying message on the dash is finally gone, thank God. But most importantly, we have safe, reliable brakes on this thing.
Yeah, using the Foxwell tool and the motive bleeder were definitely critical in getting the job done on this. And remember, if you have that error sensor, error message on your dash, you're gonna need to replace the pad sensors as well. And yeah, be sure to check out anything you need to get this job done on your G20 or other BMW at BimmerWorld.com.
Ready to go? Should be an awesome race weekend. We are ready to kill it this year. It's good. It's going to be a wild ride.